barn was warmer than the air outside, holding the day's heat the way old wood sometimes did. And Alara felt every bit of it gathering under her collar as she stood near the workbench. She had only meant to stop by to drop off the tools she'd borrowed, maybe exchange a few polite words with Cole before heading back home. But the storm the night before had turned the entire trail into a river of muck. And crossing the creek had been a mistake. One she was now paying for in the form of boots glued to her feet by a mixture of mud, creek water, and stubbornness. Asterisk, she tugged again. Bracing one hand on the edge of the table, nothing. The boot didn't give so much as an inch. Asterisk behind her. Cole shifted, the sound of his boot heel scraping against the barn floor. He had been watching for the past minute, pretending to sort ropes and glance casually around. But she could feel his eyes all the same. Asterisk, you're gonna hurt yourself, he said finally. His voice was calm, smooth, annoyingly certain. Or worse, you're gonna break something of mine. Asterisk, I'm not breaking anything, she replied, pulling harder. A sharp jolt shot up her calf. She winced, but kept her expression as steady as possible. Asterisk Cole let out a soft chuckle, the kind that was more air than sound, but still managed to get under her skin. Bootjacks busted. Told you last week? Should have believed me. Asterisk, I did believe you, she said, gritting her teeth. I just thought maybe the boots would cooperate. Asterisk, they don't look cooperative. Asterisk, Alara stepped down, breath slightly unsteady. I'm fine. I'll handle it. Asterisk, he walked over without another word, boots thudding softly, and she felt something flutter embarrassingly in her stomach. Cole always moved like he had all the time in the world, slow, steady, unfazed even when everything around him was rushing or falling apart. That was one of the reasons people trusted him. Maybe one of the reasons she trusted him, too. Asterisk, when he stopped in front of her, he didn't ask permission. He just lifted one brow, eyes dropping to her feet with a look halfway between exasperation and amusement. Asterisk, show me your feet. Asterisk, her chest tightened. Cole, asterisk. It's either that or I carry you home with the boots still on, said, the faintest smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. And you don't want that. Trust me. Asterisk, she hesitated, heat prickling across her cheeks. The barn was too quiet. The late afternoon sun painted everything gold, and he was far, far too close. But the boot wasn't budging. With a frustrated sigh, she lifted her right foot and rested the heel on his knee as he crouched down. The muscles in his forearm flexed as he wrapped one hand around the upper leather. And she suddenly became aware of how easily he steadied her, how grounded he felt. She tried to look elsewhere, anywhere, but the moment felt too pointed, too intimate in a way that surprised her. Asterisk Cole didn't seem in a hurry. He studied the boot, turning it slightly, brushing off some dried mud with the back of his knuckles. His touch wasn't invasive, but it was careful, thoughtful, like he wanted to get it right the first time. You're holding your breath, he murmured. No, I'm not. Asterisk, you are. Asterisk, I'm just trying to stay balanced, she insisted. Asterisk, mem. He didn't argue further. He didn't have to. The way he said that single syllable made her wish the floor would swallow her. Asterisk, his fingers moved again, sliding down the side of the boot as he checked for leverage, lower, then a little lower still, until his hand settled almost beneath her arch. The leather wasn't thick enough to stop the warmth of his palm, and she felt it travel all the way up her leg. Asterisk, she steadied herself on his shoulder, which only made everything worse or better. She couldn't decide. Asterisk, finally, he braced one hand behind the heel, the other securing the boot's top edge. Ready? No, she whispered before she could stop herself, but Cole didn't hesitate. With one firm pull, the boot came loose with a loud pop. The sudden release sent her stumbling forward, and Cole reacted instantly, dropping the boot and catching her by the waist with both hands. She collided lightly with his chest. Breath tangled against her lips, heartbeat thundering somewhere too close to the surface. Asterisk for a moment. The world narrowed to nothing but the scent of fresh hay, the warmth of his arms, and the rough fabric of his shirt under her palms. He held her like she weighed nothing at all, like stopping her from falling had been instinct, not effort. Asterisk, you all right? He asked, voice low. Asterisk, she nodded, though her face was burning. I wasn't expecting it to. Come off that fast. Asterisk, that's what happens when you relax. I was relaxed, she shot back. He arched an amused eyebrow. Sure you were. Asterisk, she pushed herself upright, clearing her throat as he let go slowly, as if making sure she was steady before giving her space. He picked up the boot from the floor and gave it a short shake, sending clumps of dried mud scattering. Asterisk told you, he said lightly. All you had to do was show me your feet. Asterisk Alara bit down on the inside of her cheek to stop from saying something foolish. You didn't have to help. I could have figured it out. Asterisk, maybe, he admitted. But I wasn't going to watch you wrestle a piece of leather for 20 minutes. It wasn't 20. 15, he corrected. She opened her mouth to argue, and then her other boot throbbed with pressure as the mud inside shifted, reminding her she wasn't done. Asterisk Cole noticed immediately. His eyes dropped to her remaining boot. Want help with that one too? Asterisk, no, she lied. I'll try again. Asterisk. He nodded as though preparing himself for the inevitable, then stepped back with his arms folded. She tugged once. The boot didn't move. She tugged a second time, harder. Nearly losing her grip on the workbench, Asterisk, by the third attempt, she was breathing through clenched teeth. Asterisk Cole watched, expression painfully patient. When she slipped and thumped her heel against the ground, he pushed off the post. Asterisk, Alara, I've got it, Alara. She looked up. He didn't smile this time. Didn't tease. His voice softened in a way that shifted something inside her. Asterisk, let me help. Asterisk, she swallowed, pulse skipping. Something in his tone steady, certain gentle made resistance feel pointless. She wasn't sure if he knew that. She wasn't sure if she wanted him to. Asterisk slowly. She lifted her left foot. Asterisk, he crouched again, taking her ankle with surprisingly careful hands, guiding her heel to his knee. Not a single movement was rushed. He held her like she was something precious, something breakable. Asterisk, she tried to breathe normally as his fingers brushed away the mud caked around the boot's rim. The barn was too quiet again. The dust motes drifted lazily through golden light, settling on the edges of everything, including her nerves. Relax this time, he murmured. I am relaxed. She insisted. Asterisk, he looked up at her with a slow, knowing smile that made her heart tumble. Sure. Asterisk, he slid his hand lower, feeling along the side until he found the right grip. When his thumb pressed near the bottom of the arch, she tensed despite her best effort. Asterisk, Alara. Asterisk, what? Asterisk, relax. She exhaled shakily. Cole pulled. Asterisk this time. She steadied herself before she could fall, but he still reached out, one hand hovering near her hip, as if prepared to catch her again. The boot slid free with less resistance than the first, but her balance wavered anyway. She stepped forward instinctively, and his hand landed against her waist, a soft, grounding touch. Easy, he said, his thumb brushing the back of her shirt as he steadied her. Her breath caught. She didn't dare move. Asterisk, after a moment, he let his hand fall, stepping back, but not far. The air between them felt strangely fragile, warm, almost charged. Asterisk, you're good now, he said quietly. Holding both boots in one hand, Asterisk, she nodded, trying to gather the scattered pieces of her composure. Thanks. Asterisk, he studied her for a long moment, eyes soft, thoughtful. Anytime? Asterisk, the sun dipped lower outside, the barn growing calm again. Cole set the boots aside and wiped his hands on a rag, but his gaze drifted back to her as though he wasn't quite done watching her. Even if he didn't say why. Asterisk, Alara brushed her hair behind her ear, suddenly unsure what to do with her hands. Standing barefoot on the barn's wooden floor, she felt strangely exposed, strangely grounded, strangely seen. Asterisk, and she knew without question that walking out of the barn would be much harder than walking in.